Putting a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is Rift Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Good evening, travelers. How's everybody doing tonight? Woo! Woo! I am the quintessential hitman of social media, Howie Odell.
And I am Rhonda Harris Dowdy.
The woman who keeps the balance among the madness and the craziness. Yes.
I do my best, but I have a tendency to go off the rails myself once in a while.
That makes it fun. That makes it fun. How are you doing? And hello to all of you travelers and those alike. Now, as you're seeing, if you are on Facebook, please click the link that we have provided. What that will do was allow us to be able to say hello to you and see your names. So please click the name. If you have not seen it already, I will place it one more time. That way, listen to me. Oh, I'm talking one more time. What is that all about? So, my dear Rhonda, I will allow you to say hello to our travelers.
Yeah. Hello, David Lester from Virginia. Saying Daniel knows his stuff. Don't go easy on him. Okay.
Oh, well, that'll be fun.
We got Lisa Oxier.
Lisa in the house.
Kate has joined us.
Miss Kim is here. And hello, and everybody that will tune in at a later time into the archive. Thank you for tuning in. This is going to be a really great show. There's a huge event that's about to take place. And as a matter of fact, we have a surprise for Daniel at the end of the show, don't we?
You do?
Yeah, I have a surprise.
It might be a surprise for Rhonda as well.
I was about to say I have a surprise for you too.
I was going to say, I'm not knowing about this here.
Well, June 17th, I and you,
yes,
with one of our teammates, will be at the 2023 Bigfoot Convention in Virginia. We'll be talking to the big man about that tonight. We're going to be talking to him about the unusual, the strange, and all things that go TikTok in the night in the woods. So I'm excited about that. So with that, before we jump in and bring the man of the hour in, who needs no introductions, by the way, how are things going with you? What's been going on with you?
I will say, there's a work-life balance, and I am kind of off balance right now. So I've been spending a lot of time not doing fun stuff, but getting a lot done. So,
well, that's not fun.
No, but good news is that project is coming to an end, so it'll be back to normal here soon. So, but yeah, my work-life balance has no balance right now. It's mostly work.
Now, with work, let's flip it over to the other work side. How's your group doing? How's everybody over on in how should we say FPRI land?
Everybody in FPRI land and the Boo Crew are doing great. We're trying to get a couple of events going on, so we'll be posting out. I know John will be posting out about those soon. The one we have posted out is we do have Dinner with a Ghost in September at Hamilton High School.
Oh,
we're going to do 8 to 2 a.m. investigation that Friday night, and then there's the Dinner with the Ghost on Saturday, and then a mini investigation after that.
Excellent. Yeah. So we've got a little bit of everything going on now.
Yeah.
So closer or better. There we go. Closer is better. I'm looking at it, the shading again. I'm like, I'm not taking the hat off tonight.
I think it's the reflection off the hat. I really do.
Do you? It's reflecting?
I think so. I think your bling is causing it to reflect.
bling, the super bling.
Yeah.
The hit hat bling. Excellent. Yeah, there's a lot of other things going on too. Make sure to check your calendars. Yeah, you guys really should be looking and making a calendar if you're into the paranormal, supernatural. Hello, buddy. We have so much around the East Coast, so much around the United States going on, so many great conventions, cryptic, paranormal, spiritual, they're everywhere. So check your local listings. You can't miss these. It's like this year, everybody went bloom.
There's pretty much something every weekend now through probably October somewhere to do something if you want to.
I mean, they just had 2 conventions within themselves this past weekend. So, Pennhurst and there was another convention. I cannot recall what that was. But nevertheless, for everybody to get out there and, to mingle with people, meet people, and talk and get your hands into the paranormal and supernatural, along with the cryptid and the spiritual. It's great opportunities. We're actually going to be talking about that in just a minute. I want to say hello. Ronnie just clicked in. I'm a member of the Boo Crew. I see Shayla, another member of the Boo Crew. Hello, everybody. And hello to all of you. If this is your first time here to the Orion Effect, welcome home. We would love to have you here and come in, get a cup of coffee, sit down and chat with us right here in chat, or communicate with us. However, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is our pristine honor to introduce you to the man known as Daniel Benoit. He is the head of ECBRO and the man ahead of the Great Virginia Convention of Bigfoot 2023, June 17th. Welcome to the show, Daniel.
Hey, you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Excellent. I just wanted to make sure because my Wi-Fi is everything's working good on. It appears that way anyway, but it's a hit or miss sometimes on my end.
I feel you. I'm here at the cabin in 360, shameless plug, and sometimes I have that same issue. I'm like, are we going to have contact? Because sometimes in the past, the podcast didn't always go so well because they like to interfere with things. It's really unusual.
Right.
So
yeah, I'm out. Well, as you know, Howie, I'm out here in the Shenandoah Valley, and I mean, yeah, I'm sitting. As a friend of mine once said, he referred to the Shenandoah Valley as a large salad bowl. So, we're surrounded. We're in the valley. We're surrounded by mountains. So, but thanks to Verizon, I'm glad I get good Verizon signal here. So,
yeah, that's the positive about at least. My girlfriend Sarah says she calls it a dust bowl. I don't.
Yeah.
But okay. But luckily, Verizon does a really good signal out there, and that's what I'm going to be looking at come June 17th. So speaking of that, I keep talking about the date, brother man. I'm going to hand you the helm, and let's talk about the big show first. Let's get that out there so people know what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, besides you, I mean, I'm assuming you're in the Richmond, Virginia area. Is that correct?
Correct. We're both in the Richmond area.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, very awesome. Because I mean, we have other people who had just bought tickets from Richmond. Now, first of all, let me back up a little bit. The event, it is completely free to shop and browse our vendors. We have over 45 vendors, and even though I lost a couple that can't make it, I just picked up and replaced a couple. So we still have over 45 vendors. So it's going to be a really great turnout just on the vendors alone. And everybody will be inside except for our food trucks, of course. All our food trucks will be out in the parking lot. This event is taken in Weyers Cave, Virginia at the Weyers Cave Community Center. For those who have never been there or not familiar with it, the community center, it's very large. It is a very large facility. It's got a very large parking lot. There's a field behind it. There's playgrounds for kids on the back side of it. So yeah, we have the whole gymnasium where we'll have all our vendors on the inside. Upstairs, there's 2 rooms. One's downstairs and one's upstairs when it comes to the conference rooms. but our vendors will be upstairs. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Our speakers will be upstairs. Our vendors will be in the gymnasium. I had a buddy of mine ask me, well, why don't you just keep them downstairs? That way they're all on the same level. Well, we have from the Animal Planets show called the Wild Man, aka Turtle Man. Turtle Man is going to be with us, and Turtle Man is going to be set up with the vendors. And where I plan on having him set up at, there's no way I could have him set up against the wall with a downstairs room with if we were to put speakers there, because nobody will be able to hear. It's a thick wall, but Turtle Man is very live and full of energy. And he's like, yee, live action all day long. And so we put the speakers upstairs. And hold on, why is my thing disappearing here? Uh-oh, yeah, I'm sorry. For some reason, my screen timed out. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened there, but my screen timed out on me. So this event is going to be bigger and better than ever. I mean, last year we had a pretty decent turnout, which took place at a Holiday Inn and Conference Center. This year's June event is at the community center in Weyers Cave. It's just north of where last year's event was. But we have more space. And the other thing is, too, last year the event went amazing. I'm not going to lie. In my opinion, it really went really well.
I agree.
The only issue I had there, and we weren't able to get our food trucks there. We learned at last minute, the day of the event, that we couldn't have our food trucks there.
Oh.
And I'm not going to get into details, even though even though we had a verbal agreement and emails with the organizer of the event, the management of the conference center said, no, you can't have no food trucks here because they have a restaurant there and they have, I guess, there's food laws and regulations and all this crap. No, none of that was brought up to us during the agreement when we were saying, well, we got food trucks that are coming in. So, but this year, the Weyers Cave Community Center, we were holding our second event that we do every year there, our October Squatch Fest. We decided, hey, let's do the June event here because our June event's our bigger event anyway, and we need the space. So, but we're gonna have the annual Virginia Bigfoot Conference being held at the community center and right there in Weyers Cave. If you're coming off of Interstate 81, the exit number is exit 235. Yes, exit 235. So, all the information, if you want to learn details and information, everything's on Facebook. We have the Facebook event page is the annual ECBRO Virginia Bigfoot Conference. Or I like to direct people sometimes to the website. We have the event website, which is www.vabigfootcon.com. All the same information is right there. I try my best to keep that updated the best I can. So, if there's any questions, you can email me at ecbro98@gmail.com. Like I said, we got some great speakers that are there. The whole event is free to shop and browse the vendors. But if you plan on sitting in on the presentations, we are selling tickets for that. And the tickets are selling really fast. And one thing about the tickets, I'm going to tell you, we've only sold more tickets at the door, but this year we have as of right now we have 90 tickets online sold, and we have only 140 spaces for the upstairs for the speaking presentations. Right now the online sales are bigger than what they've ever been, and we're encouraging people to buy tickets online because if you buy tickets at the door, they're going to be $10 more. So we're encouraging people to save that $10 and buy online. And other than that, besides that, any information you need to know, just ask away.
I want to say this real quick. That's right. Middletown Paranormal is up in the Shenandoah Valley as well. So I want to give Ronnie and Shayla that prop right there. I want to say hello to Melissa. Welcome to the Orion Effect. I see my brother is on, Robert Adele. What's up, brother? And Tyler Darnell. Hello, Tyler. Welcome, welcome. Another Brew Crew member in the house there. I want to say this too. I think I've made a decision myself. With saying that, I want everybody to know two things. First, he was talking about the information. If you are literally watching right now off Facebook, that means you're probably watching off the Orion Effect link going to the R.I.F.T Nation. You can go to the R.I.F.T Nation events, and we have an event set up to take you directly to Daniel's group and pages as well, and back history as well. So there's plentiful paths to get to this event. With saying that, we are proud this year to be working with Daniel and with Twisted Paranormal to provide coverage of the event all day long. So we're really excited about that too, teaming up with Daniel and making this even a larger expansion. So people, if you can't make it out there, you'll be able to see what's going on. Now, maybe not the speakers, like Daniel said, you have to pay for them. That location you're probably not going to see online, but you at least get to see coverage of the show, do some interviews, and hear from the vendors, Daniel himself, if he has time. It's always hard to talk to you during this event, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I'll be around everywhere, but don't worry. I'll make sure I sit in with you guys because I have my event MC coming down from Pennsylvania to take care of the speakers. He's going to be announcing the speakers during the presentations. Everything's going to be in his hands. I'm holding him full responsible for all the speakers upstairs. I'll be checking in on them on occasions, but my goal is to enjoy my own event. So I'll be down there with the vendors. And for the record, we will have other paranormal teams there. We encourage the paranormal teams to come on out. Talk about Middletown paranormal team. Yeah, they're located just an hour, roughly maybe an hour north of where the venue is. I've been in contact with them. Unfortunately, they will not be able to make it due to other prior events and obligations. But they came out last year. The whole group of them came out last year and hung out and spent time there with us. So, but yeah, unfortunately, they will not be able to be there because I did invite them personally to come on down, but they can't do it. So, but yeah, again, one of my sponsors is the Twisted Paranormal Society. They will be there with us this year, set up and selling their merch.
Twisted Realm
also
is
known
on board, right?
Yeah, right. They're the same people, the Twisted Realm. Yeah. And also, I like to make mention, which I've made posts about this, but the Twisted Realm, aka the Twisted Paranormal Society, they are actually now part of the Virginia Bigfoot Conference committee team. So yeah, they'll be working with me. I mean, we've already been in meetings, talking in person. We have a couple things we're in the works for 2024, and one of those is a secondary event, which I don't want to share too much detail on that quite yet, although we're working on a second event that will cater to not just paranormal, but UFOs, anything strange and that's taking place in Virginia. Basically, it's going to be catering to the realm of the unknown. So yeah, that's the secondary event that we're working on. So we're excited about that. They're in the works of meeting or finding a location. They've already talked about one location, but they're waiting to hear back to get confirmation on that. So as soon as we get that information together, I know they'll let me know as soon as possible. So yeah, between the June event of the ECBRO Virginia Bigfoot Conference, and we're going to be putting on a second event. So yeah, with what they threw out there and what they have in mind, yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Well, for people that are coming out of town, Daniel, what are we talking about overnights for people who are coming from over town?
Well, I've been asked that question a few times in the Virginia Bigfoot Conference event page on Facebook. I have made a few suggestions or recommendations. If you're coming out of town and need a place to stay, there is a few locations in the Harrisonburg area, which is just north of our venue. If you do a Google search for Harrisonburg hotels, there's a large variety of hotels because I don't know what people's budgets are. One in particular, I was actually recently in contact with from Richmond. They're coming out for the event and wanting some hotel information. I sent them a few recommendations or suggestions. Also, if you go south of the venue, there is also a couple of recommendations in there. The Holiday Inn and Conference Center, where we held the event last year, that's a possibility. That's an option. But going online, I looked at their hotel rates and went way up. So yeah, I had some people like to stay at the Red Roof Inn, which is right across from the Holiday Inn, right there off of the 81. I haven't stayed there, but I've heard good reports about that location. They used to be the Quality Inn, I believe. Yeah, it used to be a Quality Inn or Days Inn or something, but it's now a Red Roof Inn, and their hotel costs are very cheap compared to what some of the others are. So yeah, definitely do a Google research on Harrisburg, or what I would do is look up hotels near Weyers Cave, Virginia, and go from there.
Well, I will help you out with this one too. Don't forget, it's right across basically the highway. I'm going to say it like that. You've got Stanton right there, so an opportunity for you to do a double event that weekend. Just saying, I gotta help my crew. Gotta help my crew. You are coming to this event that night. If you're staying in town, you could stay in Stanton or Harrisonburg. Come on down to Stanton, to the Stanton Ghost Walks. You can take a tour of Stanton and get a good history, yet a bad, good, spooky, whatever. Get a chance to do that as well. And there's hotels there too. So come on, stay open tonight. I will tell you this. I'm probably going to end up staying at Slate Lick. I think we're going to camp, brother.
Hey, that's awesome. I'm going to tell you something about Slate Lick. I've done some camping and some research in that area. And I will tell you for a fact that there's Bigfoot there. I've actually found a trackway. I got pictures of it too. I found a trackway in an area right behind where I actually camped at some years ago. And a friend of mine, also an old coworker of mine, when I told him the exact spot where I camped at, and I showed him pictures of the trackway. Well, he told me there was one time where him and his wife camped there. They were in a small camper. He said that was the same exact spot where him and his wife camped at, where something banged and knocked their camper twice around 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So yeah, there's some serious activity there. And there's some other activity I've learned about that area before.
Well, that's
full, So yeah, I guess
full of revolutionary. It's filled with Civil War. You're talking about moonshine. Everything's gone through there, and actually, that's my. I have family right around the corner from that location, so I'm going to assume that maybe the Bigfoot Sasquatch may be coming down from the mountain, maybe. Possibly across that pathway around that corner. Yeah.
Right. I'm trying to see. Ronnie Richards said we want to do the next one, Daniel. I'm not sure what he's referring to. I see some of the comments, but I'm not seeing what they may be referring to.
He'll come next year. Middletown
next year. It's the next event.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, Ronnie's one of the parents. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm sorry. I wasn't familiar with their name. So, okay. That's awesome. Gotcha. Okay.
And my brother, it looks like my brother just asked the same question, and I'm glad we were able to answer it because he's like, what about camping sites? Kenny, we can do Slate Lit Rock, and it's actually one of the only Virginia state parks that allow free camping there. So, yeah, Kenny, definitely. And anybody else? If you like camping, it's a great location, but you got to know how to get there. So follow the train.
Right. Well, talking about camping, now we have around 12. We had up to 14 people signed up, but this week we got a camping event going on this week. I host 2 different group campouts. I try to do one around every May and one around September. Now, this week I'll be headed out Thursday after I get off of work. To head out to where our group campout is. we actually had a couple spots opened up because a couple of people are not able to make it. So we're catering them, we're with what they paid into it, they could attend our September camp out. But yeah, for anyone, if you're free and you want to camp out, I'm headed out Thursday after work because we're camping it'll be 3 nights. I'll be camping through the 26th through the 29th of this week. And that there is in part of the George Washington National Forest. And it's not around Slate Lick, but it is in the National Forest. And it's about, from where I live here in Augusta County, it's approximately around almost an hour drive from here, from where I live. But when I leave from work, it's about a good 45 minutes still from where I work. Because I work out of Harrisonburg, so yeah.
And I just want to say that. So Melissa said Slate Lake is an interesting place to stay in. We do some camping there. So you know what? If you guys want, we're definitely going to put a crew together. We'll be staying there on the 17th. So if y'all want to do a big camping thing at that night, come on, join up with us. I think that's what we're going to do.
I don't know, Howie. It looks like your brother's bailing on that idea. He's like, okay, I'm thinking I'll stay at a hotel now.
I saw that. I was like,
well, as far as the night of the 17th, after the event is done, there was I was planning on getting together a few of us to go out to eat somewhere nearby, and perhaps it's most likely it will probably be in the Harrisonburg, Virginia area. I'm not sure exactly where yet, but yeah, if you guys are gonna do a camp out that night, I might come up and join you and hang out for the night. I'll bring my tent too. I mean, at least for an overnight thing, but at least till Sunday, because I mean, of course I got to go back to work on Monday. So
same here.
Yeah, but I know work sucks, don't it?
This sounds really great. This sounds like a great idea, and I think I'm going to work something up on the coverage site, the event page, with the Rift Nation. So if you want to travel that over, you know what? We can make a crew.
And Shayla makes a good point. There's some good Airbnbs in that area too. If you're in Airbnb.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you like a good Airbnb, I'll tell you, Augusta County has some. There's one, depending on which way you go out to my research area out there in West Augusta, there is one. It's been bought and sold a few different times. I've actually had one of my Bigfoot town hall meetings held at the Buckhorn Inn, for those who know that area or that location. The Buckhorn Inn, I tell you, actually, there's been paranormal teams that have investigated that bed and breakfast. I don't know the history or the details. All I know is that there was a murder there one time, many years ago. But supposedly that place is haunted. So that's something to maybe check into. The Buckhorn Inn. So, it's heading out into the National Forest. And the further you go out into the National Forest, people got to keep in mind there's no phone service.
And no bathrooms, folks. Just letting you know.
Yeah, right. Just like Slate Lick, there's no bathrooms out there. Except there is one spot where I camped at. There just so happened to be an old built outhouse that was like old and rotten. But it was still usable. But I know how females are. They're funny about using the facilities outside. But this one here, if you don't mind bugs and spiders, it's still accessible.
I think I got that covered. One of the things that getting into camping and you can modify things, you're aware. If everybody brings 5 gallons of water, you can do a porta potty and you can do a shower. It's all about sharing, which we should have been doing a long time ago. I mean, it's what we all do as settlers.
Yeah.
So everybody just brings a little something, and it's like a little small overnight community. It's really fun. I will say that. It's really fun.
Right. Yeah. I mean, just like Slate, like all the camping areas are primitive. In my research area, it's the same thing. It's all primitive. Now, the one spot I do try to get, it's a first come, first served basis. But the one location I try to set up my group campouts in is right across from the entrance that goes into the lake. And there is bathrooms there in my area. So for those who might be familiar with Elkhorn Lake, and I hate to mention my area because I try to keep it quiet, but for those who are watching and listening, I feel comfortable mentioning it. But Elkhorn Lake in West Augusta, if you're familiar with that area, yeah, you know there's only one set of bathrooms out there. And yeah, there is a spot I try to set up on. I'm going to try to get out there as early as possible this week to get set up and claim a spot. But for those who I have sent the GPS coordinates, they all had instructions. If that camp spot is occupied, is to meet me at the bathrooms. Because, I mean, I try to get that spot. But like I said, it's a first come, first served basis. So, because, you know, there's no making reservations out there. You know, it's all primitive. So, yeah.
Rhonda,
so it is what it is.
Something. Rhonda, I'll let you take the. I'll let you take the comments.
David said, where we are camping this week, it is primitive camping as well, as is Slate Lick, no cell service. Melissa said no internet, and she said primitive bathrooms require a flashlight, baby wipes, and hand sanitizer.
Yeah. Yeah, David and Melissa, they come out camping with me in my area. But yeah, they do a lot of camping on their own up that way. David and Melissa, their husband and wife. So yeah, they live in Timberville, Virginia. But yeah, they're very familiar with Slate Lick. They do a lot of camping and hiking up there.
Over
so
near, Folks Run. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they live up that way.
How do you know this, Howie? Because I used to live in Newmarket, so.
Oh yeah, there you go. So yeah, if you come out here, and I'm going to throw this out there, and if Dave is listening, if you want some good donuts, go to Krispy Kreme early in the morning, because David and Melissa both work at Krispy Kreme in Harrisburg. Yeah, and you might catch David. He hates it that I'm going to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. You might catch David wearing his apron. David, you know, he's probably cussing at me right now. He said, "Why'd I have that? Even bring that up?" He's probably saying.
Melissa's saying she grew up in Folks Run. Well, Melissa, I've got family out there, Debbie and Elaine, the Irvings. So yeah, they're right around the corner. So we're taking care of if something happens. But that's so cool. That is so cool.
Oh yeah. David works there, Krispy Kreme, with Melissa, his wife. He's actually retired police. He's a retired police officer from Rockingham County. So, yeah, yep, yeah, that's right, Melissa. Hot and ready, talking about the donuts.
They honestly don't get better than Krispy Kreme hot and ready glazed donuts. Nothing's better.
Oh my goodness, they melt right in your mouth, because you know. I remember the last event I drove out of town for to go up to Pennsylvania, which I got a few events in Pennsylvania happening here real soon. I stopped in at Krispy Kreme on my way, headed up to Pennsylvania a few months back, and I actually forgot they worked there, and I was in there, and all of a sudden, well, first Melissa approached me, and then next you know, David's walking out from behind because he makes the donuts there, and there he is, where he was wearing his lovely apron, and end up buying me over a dozen of donuts to take with me up to where I was going. So I was like, awesome, you know.
So you hear something funny? All right, so you know where the Krispy Kreme is, right? If you go to the top of the hill, there's that Hobby Lobby that's there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Hobby Lobby. I did.
Did you?
I did. I used to work there for a little bit. So yeah, I know Harrisonburg pretty darn well.
Yeah. Well, you know, with the company I work for, we were formerly known as ACF Environmental, where we deal with a lot of erosion control material. Well, Ferguson Waterworks, which they're everywhere. They're all throughout Virginia, all throughout the United States, and they're actually worldwide. They bought us out. They bought my previous company out a couple of years ago. And so now, I mean, we're everywhere. So, I mean, I deliver to everywhere local in Harrisburg. I deliver up and down through the whole state of Virginia, West Virginia, whatever. So, I mean, that's what I do. I'm a delivery driver for this company. And, some of the companies in the place, like, for example, I was just at JMU, excuse me, this past Thursday, where I gave a presentation at JMU. And the location I went to, I didn't know that was their conference center. I said, I'm looking around. I said, man, these buildings that were standing right here, I said, they weren't here just a little over a year ago. I was like, I was delivering construction material and stuff to these people, you know, that were building this. So I was like, wow, it's nice to see what the area looks like after it's been built, you know?
It's amazing.
So, yeah, but that's what I do. Yeah, it's interesting.
Amazing how Harrisonburg has grown. I will say that whole area.
Oh, yeah. And I see David said, dag nabbit, Daniel. Thanks a lot, buddy. Talk about it, David. I love you, David.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
David said, don't forget we will be in a primitive area this week. Paybacks can hurt. May have to put a used apron to use.
Daniel, I'm thinking of your chainsaw. You may want to.
Let me start playing my banjo because we will be close to West Virginia. We're only about 5 miles from West Virginia. Start hearing those banjos playing. Ding, 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 ding.
This is true. Let's switch gears for a minute. Let's find out who Daniel is, because I know Ron and I were talking, and we're like, you know, we want it to be about the event, but we also want people to understand exactly who you are, that you know your stuff. You're one of the premier people here in the state of Virginia when it comes to Bigfoot or squash hunting. Actually, a lot of members in our team, Ron and I's team, are squashers. So, you know, they got really excited when they found out that this event's taking place and they can make it and all that. But I know Rhonda had a couple of questions, and I really wanted Rhonda's questions to get in there. So I want to take that rein and jump away because I know she had some questions about or for you.
I did. Oh, I did. Well, I mean, how did your love of Bigfoot and Sasquatch hunting even start?
Well, I'll tell you what. Like I've shared this with numerous people over the years, and you know, for anyone that's familiar with the Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin footage that took place back in 1967. Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin were two individuals that were on horseback out in Bluff Creek, California, in 1967. They just so happened to have a camera with them. To be more specific, they had a 16 millimeter camera. And yeah, anyone that's not familiar with a 16 millimeter camera, do a Google research on it. You'll see how old it is. But the 16 millimeter camera was a featured, or I should say, a actually preferred camera of that day, of that time period. It was considered to be one of the best of that time frame. And you know, if you have never seen that Bigfoot footage that was filmed from Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin, there is actually 4K video footage of that on YouTube. Whoever put that 4K into that video footage did a phenomenal job. You can see the original footage if you do enough research on it, because there's been several copies of that film that has been copied and remade over the years. But till today, till this day, the 4K image is very sharp looking, and it shows, in my honest opinion, it shows some great details. I mean, it's the best you're going to get considering that type of film that was used back during that day. But I will tell you, it was that particular footage that really sparked a serious interest in me. More of a strong curiosity. And when I've seen that footage for the very first time, I was like, whoa, wow, this is impressive. So it was me observing that footage that really opened up a new world to me. It had me really, like I said, I don't always have the words to share when it comes to this, but like I said, it was a new world that got opened up to me. And observing and seeing that video footage, it had me out in the outdoors really paying attention. It had me on alert. It opened my senses. It really, like I said, the curiosity drew into a passion. And of course, the passion has grown over the years. And it's where it put me where I'm at today. as a researcher into the field of Bigfoot. Um, but yeah, if you're not familiar with that footage, I really recommend checking that out. And of course, that's not the only video footage that's happened over the years. I mean, we've had all kinds of alleged Bigfoot videos and images that are out there. Now, I'll be the first to tell you that I don't jump on board with all of them, because there's been so many hoaxes and a lot of craziness involved because people want attention. But besides the footage from 1967, there's only one other footage that I really give a lot of credit to that's really overlooked. And that is the Paul Freeman footage that took place back in the early 90s. Now, a lot of people, if you've ever seen the Paul Freeman footage, now, of course, a lot of people say, oh, yeah, that was back in 1994. Well, of course, that's what a lot of the date is put on a lot of that footage. But actually, that really took place back in 1992, 2 years prior. 1994 might have been the year where it actually really became more public. But 1992 is when that was actually filmed by Paul Freeman. I actually learned that information from Michael Freeman, the son of Paul Freeman, which I've actually had him on one of my podcasts a few months ago. And but again, as far as the footage goes, that's what opened up the door for me to start looking into the whole subject. It actually had me researching and exploring with my senses really heightened on the subject. Now, a little bit about me. I grew up in the outdoors. I've always been acquainted with wildlife. And of course, I got more acquainted and familiar with wildlife as the years gone by since my youth. I mean, I've always been out in the woods with Dad, hunting and exploring. I've played in the woods, building forts and whatnot, what have you. But yeah, besides looking for evidence of Bigfoot, I mean, because that's what got me into it. I wanted to learn more about the truth. I wanted to find evidence for myself. And sure enough, I was discovering things that your most average person would overlook. Because over the years, I've met hunters, I met hikers, and I've openly questioned people and asked them. When I've learned of people that go out in the woods and hunt and explore, and they've never. I mean, their take is, well, I've never seen anything like that. I never found anything like that. I've been out in the woods for years and never experienced anything. And I've come to learn that, well, these people, because they weren't aware of the subject, so they weren't looking, they weren't listening. If you take the time to look in it while you're exploring, I promise you will find the evidence. For example, tracks. Tracks that you cannot identify or compare to what is known. Because my whole thing when it comes to the Bigfoot research, Bigfoot is my last consideration, because I am a wildlife and Bigfoot researcher. And that's one thing I point out in every presentation that I do, wherever I go. Wildlife is number one. Bigfoot is number two. So if and the one phrase I like to throw out there to people is, you have to know what is known before seeking the unknown.
Exactly. We say the same thing in the paranormal. You got to debunk it before you can say it's it's spiritual or it's ghost. To use the word. So yeah,
right.
I'm glad you're saying that, dude. Thank you so much for saying that, because that really means a lot. Because a lot of, from what I'm understanding, what I did understand, let me rephrase that. What I have come to is there's a wide amount of people who go, Bigfoot's Bigfoot. It is Bigfoot. Blah blah blah. The evidence is evidence. It's like the picture I showed you. I don't know if you remember it, but Rhonda and I's teammate Britt had taken a picture at Crabtree Falls of that footprint last year. I don't know if you remember that. So
I'm not sure.
Back with me, but it's so you have that crossbreeding, paranormal and squash and paranormal, and you're seeing a lot of Bigfoot. It's interesting because terminology too. We use squashing, but it's interesting. But we've got merchandise that says squashing, but you're aiming on Bigfoot. I love that.
Right. There's been, like, I've been on other podcasts and these particular these particular podcasts, they cater to what we would call, for those who know the term woo, I guess it blends in with the paranormal or whatnot. So I've been asked some hardcore questions when it comes to what I would consider the woo. Basically anything that's what I would consider out of the realm of a logical experience or occurrence or possibility. And the thing is, I have to keep an open mind on a lot of this. But at the same time, I have to focus on what I'm looking at and what I view things on and what I believe. Do I believe that Bigfoot is a interdimensional being, or does he have these special abilities? I can't say no, but I will tell you this: I have not experienced none of the above, what people claim that they believe in. And the thing is, really, people can't make that claim either unless they witnessed it. I mean, I've heard people say, yeah, Bigfoot could walk in and out of dimensions and portals. Bigfoot could turn completely invisible and cloak. I mean, if he is able to do that, I have not witnessed it. I've had my Bigfoot experiences. I've had different occurrences out in the woods, but none of them relate to anything that's considered that woo factor. If that's the right way to put it. I'm not dismissing that he is capable of such things or he has those abilities. But again, I look at things in a critical sense, a logical sense. Like, for example, I had a friend of mine question me on Facebook on Messenger just the other day. And he asked me, he says, I have to ask you again, because last time I asked you, this is him saying this to me. Last time I asked you about if Bigfoot is capable, or do you believe that Bigfoot could do this or that? He says, the last time you responded to me, you kind of laughed about it and said, no, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, yeah, I know maybe I shouldn't have laughed about you, but no, I still don't believe in that. But I will not dismiss that that's a possibility. Because then he goes on to say, well, he said, I've been talking with Ronald J. Moorhead, for the author of Quantum Bigfoot. And apparently he was discussing Ronald with me. He said, well, Ronald said that he was just like you at some point, but he's not that way no more. And as I told him, my response was, because he brought up Les Stroud. And I'm going to tell you what, I have great respect and love for both Ronald J. Moorhead and Les Stroud. But I told him, I said, one thing I got to keep in mind is that Ronald J. Moorhead is somebody among a few others that they cater their research and what they share with people. They cater to the people that believe in that because that's their following. I'm not calling them liars in what they put out there, but that's their belief and their theories. They have a strong theory and a strong belief system in what they do and what they present. And the thing is, I mean, they have not officially experienced it, but it's their belief system. So they're going to practice it. They're going to preach it because that's where they picked up their following from.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if that makes any sense.
Oh, it makes perfect.
But yeah, now as far as Les Stroud goes, I told him, I said, there's one thing I heard from watching Les Stroud when he was out looking for Bigfoot. The one thing he said, I'll never forget, and I use it myself. I said, don't fall prey to deception. That phrase alone stuck with me ever since I heard him say that. And the more I thought about it, I said, this makes a lot of sense, especially with what's presented in today's Bigfoot community and all the different beliefs and theories that flood social media. Because, I mean, we could go out there. There's a lot of people that go out in the woods and they have Bigfoot on the brain, giving Bigfoot credit for everything that we find and experience, and they're neglecting our known wildlife that are notorious and responsible for everything that they're giving Bigfoot credit for. And I was like, whoa, this is a little bit, I don't know what the right way to put it, but it's a little bit absurd. It's a little bit crazy. There's so many different proper ways to put that, but why are you neglecting our known wildlife for half the stuff we find? You're contributing and pointing fingers at Bigfoot when there's so much more. I mean, Bigfoot's real. I mean, I'm not doubting Bigfoot because Bigfoot is real, and I know without a doubt that he exists. I have experienced Bigfoot. I had things happen to me. I've seen them, and but the thing is, there's so much more. We have to keep a level mind, and remain objective. And that's part of what I did in my latest book that I have published. It's a small booklet, but I believe it covers a lot of ground. But it's called the Wildlife and Bigfoot Field Guide, an objective view. And that's one thing not just that, but I have a couple other books before that. One is called Learning Bigfoot, and the other one is Theories versus Facts, going against the grains of science. And I use a lot of my research, and I point out a lot of illustrations, and there's some stuff in those books that people will not agree with, and I don't expect them to believe in it, but all I do is ask that you consider what I'm sharing and pointing out.
Open your mind.
So
yeah. Open the mind.
Absolutely.
The only way we learn is by experience, and if we stay closed-minded, we're not going to find that or seek that answer or the evidence we're looking for. That means we're staying closed off. We really got to open. Yeah.
Right.
So Daniel, you're a wildlife researcher as well, and this might be a broad topic, so but have you noticed with your research any changes in areas where there's been Bigfoot evidence or sightings in the natural wildlife ecosystem in that area? Like maybe certain animals aren't present or something like that?
Oh, good question, Rhonda.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Well, see, my general research area, and I throw this out there for anybody, especially for those who might be getting involved with this for the very first time, because I have been questioned numerous times in the past on people that want to get involved, and they say, well, what should I do if I want to learn how to look for Bigfoot, what should I do? Well, just like I do in my research area that I've been doing for years now, is you want to pick an area of interest. You want to focus in the area. If you learn that there's some kind of activity that's happening in that area, there's a lot you want to pay attention to. Over the years, you're going to find different changes, especially like I'll bring up Bigfoot structures. I call them Bigfoot structures, formations that we would like to contribute to Bigfoot, possible Bigfoot, or whatever, how you want to call it. You're going to notice changes in those areas from over the years. And I'm not going to lie, in my particular main research area is broken up into zones, but there is one particular zone I like to really pay close attention to where it's been there's been a lot of activity in that area over the years. Now, yeah, there's sometimes where I brought other people in, even going in there and explaining to people like, this is where one of my big encounters took place. But you know what? That area may be dead for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, give or take. But then every now and then when you visit and explore and work your way through that area, you're going to start noticing, well, there's been something coming through here with large bipedal feet, They may not make themselves known all the time. But yeah, visiting these locations, visiting these areas and being consistent on it is very important. I find it to be very crucial and critical that in the research, you want to know what's happening. If they're still working that area, do they migrate? Do they go off into other areas? Which, yes, I believe they do, but that all depends on a lot of different factors. For example, let's consider the seasons of the year. Will Bigfoot go away during the winter and come back during the spring? I think that's very likely or very possible. The one thing I like to point out to people is, well, let's entertain the thought that Bigfoot feeds off of deer and other prey. Are the prey still existing into that area? Are they still living in the area or inhabiting that location? I've always told people like this and put it this way: where your prey move is where the predators move. They have to survive and they have to eat. So are your water sources still available? Because, certain times of the year, a lot of these little creeks or streams and the small rivers that feed into the main lake in my research area, some of them, depends on which ones you look at, some of them do stay flowing, some of them dry up. If the water sources become limited, then the animals, both prey and predators, got to they got to migrate into areas where the food source and the water sources are going to be abundant and where they can stay thriving in their area. So that's something I like to point out to people. Um, Even if you're not getting no activity, you got to be consistent. You got to study these areas, focus in these areas, because change and observations and change is very important. You got to understand how these animals may be working in this area. Um, Again, get Bigfoot off your brain. Focus on the wildlife, because I promise you, where the wildlife are is where the predators will be. So that's one thing I like to point out to people. So.
Rhonda, I think we made a big mistake by going just 1 hour. Yes, we could go all night long. But we've got about 4 minutes left in the show, and I'm going to urge you both, please stay till the very end, because I have something that our staff has made, and you need to see it. And I'm really excited. I'm so proud of this staff I have now, Daniel. It's just, wow. There is a question here that I will ask. Put it out there. It is by Dwayne. He's asking, what's your opinion on the sleep patterns of the animal?
That's a very good question. And not that I've really looked into something like that, but I will put it to you like this way. A number of people believe that they have day watchers, which I believe that's very likely, where you have a group or a population of them that probably hide during the day and sleep during the day, because it's believed that they are nocturnal. So, and a number of reports where you do hear of them being more active at night. Sightings tend to occur more at the nighttime or evening, but also there's things that happen during the daytime. I can tell you, in the George Washington National Forest right here in Virginia, there's a few different locations where I've ventured into on numerous occasions. There's sometimes where I've never felt nothing, but there's been times I've been into these very locations, both alone and with others, where you're venturing in and all of a sudden this overwhelming feeling as if you're being watched comes over you. These feelings and sensations don't happen on their own. There's a reason why we get the hair on the back of our neck standing up. The sense of fear overcomes us. And I believe these are different types of what I would call infrasound that we might feel and experience. Some people on some occasions experience or claim that infrasound is a overwhelming feeling where we get sick and where we almost become crippled. Well, there's numerous forms and types of infrasound where it affects everybody differently. There's numerous species of wildlife, both here domestically in the United States and in other countries and in jungles and whatnot, like lions, elephants, even giraffes, and other primates practice this and use this as a defense mechanism, also as a way of communicating. But that's something we have to keep in mind, that because we get these feelings, we get these senses that we're being watched or observed, or there's something nearby that our system, our body is naturally telling us why we're feeling fear. We may not understand it, but there's something there. I've felt that on numerous occasions. There's one in particular where I actually experienced that before something actually really did happen. And I will tell you, you'll get warned if you're in an area or getting too close to something or one of these subjects. I've had large rocks thrown at me. One in particular was like a large football-sized stone that got thrown at me and an old girlfriend of mine some years ago. After seeing something on this trail deep in the woods, we were observing something. I had an old camera phone and I was filming something. I zoomed in a little bit without it getting too distorted. All we saw was something black moving up and down, in and out of the bush. Now, I had no idea what it was. We weren't able to identify it. So after a few moments, I just ruled it off as, it's probably just a bear up on the hill. But after we further went up the trail, we had to cross a creek to continue where the trail continued. Well, as soon as we got on the other side and we started walking up on the trail, boom. That's where that large stone got thrown right at us. It didn't hit us, but it happened right there between us. And we looked at each other and like, whoa, what the heck? And we looked back to where it came from. We didn't see nothing. It was so thick in there, full of mountain laurel and other bush. And we did end up hearing like a woo sound somewhere in the distance back there. And after experiencing something like that, it's like, well, maybe we did see a squatch. Maybe that was a juvenile, and we were being warned that we were a little too close. They didn't want us in that area.
Yeah.
So things like that do happen. There's things that we feel that, when you feel that sense of fear, don't ignore it, because that's what protects us. When we feel that, it puts us on alert. It gets us paying attention a little bit closer. Not saying, it's not a promise that we're going to get hurt or something's going to affect us, but never, what's the word I'm trying to put? Never ignore that feeling. Pay attention to it, because, if that makes any sense.
Now, unfortunately, we're at the top of the hour. I let that go over a little bit because that had needed to be answered. But Daniel, will you accept my invitation? Our invitation to come back with us this year?
No, I'm just joking. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
A lot of more questions asked. Some great questions came out that we're going to go back. We're going to study those questions. So if your question didn't get answered, we will make sure when Daniel comes back on the show, we will definitely get your questions back in. So look forward to that. We'll set a new date there. But before we end this, Daniel, let's shoot it one more time. What's coming up? What's the big event that everybody should hear? And then we're going to push out for the night.
Well, I better meet all these listeners that are on here tonight, especially on the live chat. You better come out June 17th at the Virginia Bigfoot Conference. Howie's going to be there, and it's going to be a great event, a lot of fun, a lot of entertainment. You'll leave there, learning something one way or another. So yeah, that's a big event that's coming up very soon. I'm the host of that. If you want any information, you can follow me on Facebook. You can go to the event page on the ECBRO Virginia Bigfoot Conference Facebook page, or visit the website at www.vabigfootcon.com. That's one of the biggest events that I host every year. You can follow me, because next year I think we're going to be bigger and better. We're going to have not just that event, but we're going to have a second event that my community team's working on right now. And I'm speaking at other events coming up very soon as well. I'm headed up June 8th, the evening of June 8th, to head up to Marionville, Pennsylvania for the Forest County Bigfoot Festival. I'm actually the keynote speaker for that event, so I'm excited for that, and I'm getting myself ready for that. But this week, we had the group camp out right here in West Augusta. Anybody, if you have the time to come on out there, we got spots available. Just shoot me a message or contact with Ed, and let one of us know, and because he can communicate with me. And but that's pretty much what's going on. But if you follow the event page or follow me on Facebook, I'm constantly posting and promoting and repeating myself. I probably sound like a broken record with half of the stuff I constantly repeat and share on Facebook, but that's how I am on getting the word out there, and it works.
That's right. It's
so
all about promoting.
Yeah.
Now,
right.
Travelers and those alike, also go to the main page, go look at events. You'll see where it says RNN at the ECBRO 2023. Keep an eye out, because if you're interested in camping with us, we may pull some details out for that, and maybe we can do something really special that night as well. Travelers, don't forget, let's continue to help each other. Put your hand out, help somebody out back onto their surfboard. Just be better tomorrow. Continue to grow. Continue. It could be the worst day. Take that anger, convert it, turn it positive, give it to somebody else. It may be yours.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for coming in. I was glad to be on here.
Enjoyed it.
So.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, for
Awesome.
something truly special that is new to the program, it is our honor to show you the next step of the RNN network and our producers and sponsors. Have a wonderful night, ladies and gentlemen, travelers and those alike.
Good night.